I know Chairman Ed Royce so well because he has been here every year for the last 5 years. And Chairman Royce has been on the Foreign Affairs Committee, but now this year he is the chairman of the House of Foreign Affairs. He is the sponsor of House Resolution 234 to stop asking the government of China to stop the repatriation of the North Korean refugees that are within its borders. Also, he is the sponsor of H.R. 1464, the North Korean Orphan, renamed the North Korea Child Welfare Act, and also the H.R. 1771, the North Korea Sanctions Enforcement Act of 2013. He is from the Orange County, Fullerton, Yorba Linda, Placentia area, and a lot of you are from there, I know. Who is from there? Come on, let's go. And we have 100 people who came from that area. So with no further introduction, Chairman Ed Royce.
Thank you very much, Sam. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin by thanking you all for being here, because it really is the Voiceless. Some of you have had the experience that I have had to invite former defectors to testify before the House, or to interview them in South Korea about their experiences. I just want to tell you one quick story. A young woman I interviewed had 2 small children. She was afraid in North Korea that they would not survive. So she planned her escape, and her brother assisted her. And she managed to find freedom for her 2 children and an opportunity and hope for them in South Korea, but her brother was caught. And I asked about his fate. And they lined him up, and in a firing squad he was shot and killed. Now that is what happens in North Korea today when individuals are trying to save their families. I think all of us find it reprehensible that the government in China will not follow the basic requirements under the UN Convention, and instead turn back young people like this young lady's brother in order to have them tortured or killed. I will tell you also that we've had testimony from many witnesses who escaped the prison system, who escaped that experience. 200,000 to 250,000 people being worked to death in these prisons in North Korea. And I remember one young lady telling us in the testimony that it was a crime for her not just to speak, but to smile or to laugh. A crime to sing, a crime to look in the mirror. She said, "You have no idea what it is like in that totalitarian system." And she ultimately survived it, and she ultimately escaped. But for those of us who have freedom, for those of us here in the United States, or those in South Korea, for those who understand the meaning of the rights of human dignity, it is our responsibility to speak out. It is our responsibility to gather the attention of the international community on this and to say enough. And we know a methodology that has some impact, because I spent many hours interviewing the former Minister of Propaganda for North Korea, and what he told me is that what this regime cares about is the special luxury goods and the ability to get money in and support in that goes to the family, the political elites, to the military elites. That's where they're focused. That's where we need to exert leverage. So let's do 3 things. First, let's make absolutely certain that we put pressure on the government of China to shame that communist government into changing its actions against the defenseless. And 2, let's pass legislation that brings us leverage, like H.R. 1771, in order to force the government in North Korea to make a tough decision. And that tough decision is the political elites won't be able to access that money from their bank accounts in China if we put that sanctions legislation in place. And third, let us not forget the defenseless. Let us, when we go home, talk to our friends and our neighbors and the wider community about what is happening today. And let us make this observation. After the liberation of Dachau, You saw photographs. My father took some photographs there. You saw photographs of the conditions of the political prisoners in Dachau, in those who were being worked to death in that work camp. Well, the photographs that have been leaked out of North Korea in the same striped pajamas show photographs of young North Koreans being worked to death. They will die in those camps. We said before, never again. We said never again will we stand by. Well, today we're saying again, we're not going to stand by while 250,000 people in those camps are worked to death, and we're not going to stand by as people are starved to death and their children are malnourished. No, no, we're going to speak out. We're going to get this job done. Thank you for your role in making certain that there's some modicum of justice that comes to the people of North Korea.
Congressman Royce, we have some Fullerton constituent members. And also I brought young Kim out here.
How are you?
Young Kim has been instrumental to our fight for the North Korean human rights.
This is for you.
Thank you.
One is for you, Congressman Royce, and the other one is from... And why don't you come over here? And move over a bit. Oh, over here, Mark. Okay, on the other side. All right, fight for freedom! Fight for freedom!